one day. Did you ever feel like you wanted to see through another pair of eyes?
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Ah, the mall. Citadel of style, palace of pretzels, temple of teenage culture.
What's the matter? You look depressed.
I hate working the theater. All the action's on the other side of the mall.
Not only action, but freedom and adventure. From the silents to the boomers, Gen X through millennials, some of our best years were spent strolling the halls of the local malls. Tonight, on the brink of the holiday shopping season, we look back on that golden era, those Maurice salad days, and all those memories are inspiring an overwhelming sense of mall-stalgia. Around here, it all started with the North Star, Northland, and soon a constellation of commerce lit up the shopping landscape.
A lot of people think that Northland was the first mall. It wasn't. Northland was the world's largest mall. It certainly had the world's largest parking lot. Northland Mall was really the vision of Victor Gruen, the architect who came from Vienna, Austria. And he saw the mall as a place to be. A place not just for shopping, but for some place that people would go to experience art, culture, activities, other people, sit and have meetings. They could buy anything they wanted, but if they didn't want to buy anything, they could just sit and people watch. It was an attraction that started from the groundbreaking in 1952 to the ribbon cutting in 1954, to as it evolved into additions that brought more stores from the original 80 stores.
Even though Northland had about 10,000 spaces for parking, on the weekends, you literally had to wait an hour to get in. Also, Hudson's downtown store had to send an additional 500 sales associates to that store in order to accommodate the crowds.
$25 million cost to make Northland Mall, but it was so successful that there were 300 applicants for just the 80 original tenant spaces. And in the first year, they did about $90 million in sales for the Northland Hudson store. Not a bad investment. I wrote the original book, Images of America in Northland Mall. I was inspired to write about Northland because of my life parallel to Northland Mall, starting as a kid, born the same year as the groundbreaking, moving to Oak Park the same year as the mall, Northland Mall, became open to the public. So initially started with my mother dragging me to shop at Hudson's and my dad taking me to get suits and ties at Hughes and Hatcher's, but also wanting to get those WKNR, Keener 13, and CKLW music guides. They were terrific keepsakes. I still have them.
I grew up in the city of Detroit on the northeast side in an area called Conant Gardens. And our favorite mall at that time was Northland Mall. It seemed like it was right down the street. It was the closest thing, and it was like the biggest mall, that we had ever seen. All your friends liked to go there. It was the cool place to go on Saturday. I mean, they had, clothing stores and, of course, Hudson's.
I guess my first mall memories would be at Northland, which actually started out as an open-air center, but was enclosed to become a mall.
Northland had it was a Disney character. It was a bear and a kid. I can't remember what character it was from Disney, but it was a movie where it was a boy, he had like a crew cut, and it was a bear.
I remember the Marshall Fredericks sculpture from Jungle Book of the big bear, and my dad would sort of plop me on top of that statue and take pictures, and I think we have one someplace.
I do remember the boy and the bear statue. I think the main thing I remember is just going up and rubbing the bear's nose, because somebody had told me that's going to bring you good luck.
It was originally outside Northland Mall, but it was a focal point. And then when they enclosed the mall in 1975, they moved it closer to inside the doors. And it stayed there until Macy's closed. And then City of Southfield bought about $500,000 worth of the artwork, including Boy and Bear. And the Boy and Bear got moved to the Southfield Public Library.
From Chopper 4, you can see the parking lots jammed.
They had antique shows, new car shows, they had fashion shows, circus out in the parking lot. They had all kinds of activities. They had Santa Claus that would visit, but they were unique at Northland. They didn't have just the white Santa Claus. They had a black Santa Claus as well. There are many special places, not just for me, but Ming Palace was one. Sundance Shoes, which continues to exist. Saunders Ice Cream, Better Made Chips, then Kresge's, Macaulay's Office Products.
They also had this great place in Northland called Otto's, where you could go and get popcorn. But again, it was gourmet popcorn. So you could get it buttered, caramel, cheese, or if you were really adventurous, you could get it mixed with all three. I would do that every once in a while just to say I stepped over the line.
Cunningham's, Alcove and Albert's, Ramey's Curtains, Max Green's, Tyrac, Jack's Place, and Phillips Shoes. They all meant something to me as friends, also owned them. Kroger's was a shopping center in Northland Mall, but they were unique. They were before their time. You could do your shopping for groceries, and when you were done, they had a conveyor system underground that would go out to an outlet in the parking lot. So you could drive up and pick up your groceries. They put them right into your trunk, much like today, but about 50 years ahead of time. And that building where the Kroger's pickup was became the Puppy Palace, and later on it became the Southfield Police Department. The Geodesic Dome was built originally for the Northland Playhouse. There were a lot of other things, activities that went in beforehand. Santa Claus was near there, but the dome was used for the Playhouse, where many actors and actresses from across the country came to visit. The Mump was a place where many fine acts, music acts, would play, and kids would come in, young adults would come in and dance and listen to the music.
Northland had a special area right in front of Hudson's where DSR buses would drop off passengers, as well as Smart Bus back then would have been Great Lakes Transit. They had several lines going there as well.
The bus ride was always fun too, because on Saturdays, if you catch the bus to the mall, it would be a lot of other kids on the bus. So that was another place to meet and kind of talk.
Following the opening of Northland and Eastland came Southland and Oakland, and around 1970 or so. And then, of course, mid-70s, 12 Oaks, Lakeside, Somerset, Briarwood. It just continued.
The city of Westland got its name from the mall, which opened up in 1965, and the city became a city in 1966, 1 year after its grand opening.
Westland used to be called Nankin Township, and then it was renamed after a mall. And for my knowledge, I think that's the only place that has ever been named after a mall. So it's pretty interesting.
Southland opened around 1970 or so, and it was the magnet for downriver. You had a large Hudson store, you had a large JCPenney store. When 12 Oaks first opened, people thought, why are they building a center this far out? Of course, now today, that area is completely surrounded by apartments and residential areas. Aesthetically, malls in the 1970s, of course, were getting larger and larger and adding more levels. Fairlane had 3 levels. Lakeside had several levels. Of course, Somerset has several levels with, of course, a crossover between Somerset North and Somerset South, which is also an attraction for a lot of people, the moving sidewalk. Fairlane also had its own monorail that went from the Hyatt Regency Hotel right inside the mall when that mall first opened.
I just thought that was as futuristic and, cool as it gets.
Coming up, the stores, the styles, the social life.